Dear audience, good afternoon. Engaging international democratic and human rights institutions on the occasion of June 23. I am briefing outlines the strategic rationale for engaging international democratic and human rights organization on June 23, 2026, the 77th founding anniversary of the Bangladesh Awami League, a political party whose activities remain banned under the Anti-Terrorism Act, while domestic political parties have shown limited opposition to the ban. International engagement serves both principled and pragmatic purposes. My brief examines the national human rights and democratic landscape, assesses the case for international outreach, and provides actionable recommendation. National context: human rights and democratic institution in Bangladesh. The ban on political parties. On May 11th, 2025, the Professor Muhammad Yunus lead interim government banned all activities of the Bangladesh Awami League pending trial by the International Crimes Tribunal on charges of crimes against humanity. The Election Commission subsequently suspended the party's registration and removed its electoral symbol. Parliament later codified this ban into the law through the Anti-Terrorism Amendment Ordinance. Significantly, no political parties in Bangladesh has voiced consistent opposition to this ban, while the Bangladesh Nationalist Party (BNP) initially stated that it did not support banning any political party. Other parties, including Jamaat Islam and NCP, have either supported restrictions or remained silent. The Jamaat has explicitly argued that if a ban can be imposed on the Army League activities, then the same decision can be taken for Jatiyo Party. The state of human rights. Multiple international human rights organizations have raised serious concerns about Bangladesh's human rights trajectory. Amnesty International issued a sharp warning to the interim government, accusing it of failing to afford basic human rights and noting that the interim government actions contradict Bangladesh's commitments under international law. The organization specifically criticized the continual misuse of the Anti-Terrorism Act against journalists and dissenters. Nine international human rights organizations, including Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch, the Committee to Protect Journalists, and the Article 19 have jointly called on Bangladesh's government to prioritize reforms protecting civil liberties, ensuring accountability for past abuse, and safeguarding press freedom. Their joint letter highlighted arbitrary detentions, attacks on journalists, mob violence, and abuse by security forces. The Democracy Index continues to categorize Bangladesh as a hybrid regime, while the Varieties of Democracy Institute ranks Bangladesh as an electoral autocracy. I repeat, the Democracy Index continues to categorize Bangladesh as a hybrid regime, while the Varieties of Democratic Institution ranks Bangladesh as an electoral autocracy. The the Bertelsmann Transformation Index observed that Bangladesh no longer meet minimum standard for democracy. National Human Rights Institution. The government has drafted the National Human Rights Commission Act 2026 intended to strengthen human rights protections. However, Transparency International Bangladesh has expressed serious concern that several provisions risk turning the proposed commission into a government dependent body and undermining its independence. This raises questions about the effectiveness of democratic human rights mechanisms. The case for international engagement. Why engage the international community? Why engage the international community? The question posed in the my inner, that is, why should I engage the international community in the first place? Deserve carefully consideration. The strategic rationale includes: number one, democratic legitimacy and accountability. International democratic institutions provide frameworks for assessing and upholding democratic norms. Engaging them demonstrates a commitment to transparency and accountability that domestic institutions alone cannot guarantee. Number two, human rights protection. With domestic institutions facing credibility challenges and international organization documenting rights abuses, international engagement serves as a crucial check on state power. Number three, international norms and standard. Bangladesh is a signatory to key international human rights conventions. International engaged hold the government sorry government accountable to these commitments and provides benchmark for measuring progress. Number four, diplomatic and economic consideration. International organizations and foreign environments wield significant influence the diplomatic channels, trade relations, and development assistance. The United States, for instance, has expressed commitment to support the strengthening of Bangladesh's democratic institution. Risk and caveats. The source text wisely invokes the proverb: when you dig a pond for others, you are the one who ends up falling into it. International engagement carries inherent risk. Perception of foreign interference. International advocacy may be characterized as external meddling in domestic affairs, unintended consequences. International pressure could harden government positions or trigger backlash against civil society. Selective engagement. International organizations may not always align with national priorities or may apply inconsistent standards. Instrumentalization. Both democratic and international actors may exploit human rights discourses for political ends. Dear audience, number four faces strategic recommendation. Number one, for the June 23 briefing, the briefing to international democratic and human rights organization should: number one, document the factual situation regarding the political party ban and its implications for sorry for democratic pluralization, citing specific legal provisions and institutional actions. Number two, highlight the absences of domestic political opposition to the ban as noted in the source text, while acknowledging that this does not diminish the democratic concern. Number three, reference international human rights findings, including Amnesty International earnings and the joint letter from nine organizations. Number four, call for a specific action, independent monitoring of political rights and civil liberties, technical assistance for domestic institution building, engagement with both government and civil society. Number five, frame engagement constructively, no, not as confrontation, but as partnership in upholding shared domestic values. For civil society and democratic actors, build coalition with international organizations while maintaining independent domestic voices, document violations systematically to support international advocacy, engage with National Human Rights Commission reforms to strengthen its independence, participate in international forums to share experiences and learn from other democratic transitions. For international organization, international bodies should maintain consistent standards in their assessment and engagement, engage with all political stakeholders to ensure balanced perspectives, support domestic civil society rather than substitute for it, provide technical assistance for institutional reforms, including the National Human Rights Commission Act. In a nutshell, the occasion of June 23 presents an opportunity to reflect on Bangladesh's democratic trajectory and the role of international human rights institutions. While the domestic political parties have not opposed the ban on political party activities, this does not absolve the international community of its responsibility to uphold democratic norms and human rights standards. International agreement is not without risk, as the proverb reminds us. Those who dig ponds for others may find themselves falling in. Yet the alternative silence in the face of democratic backsliding carries its own dangers. The path forward requires careful, principled, and strategic engagement that respects Bangladesh's sovereignty while holding it accountable to its international commitments. We should remember that when you dig pond or others, you are the one who end up falling on it. But we should also remember that when democracy is threatened, silence is not neutrality, it is complicity. Prepared for distribution to international democratic and human rights organization June today, June 20, 2026. Classification strategic briefing document. Thank you so much for your kind patience and support.